Hello, kiddos. It's Ryan. I'm so excited to share a new story with you today. Today's story is about a funny man named Finnicky. Finnicky is a miser. Do you know what a miser is? A miser is someone who loves their money so much that they never want to spend it. And Finnicky? Well, he loves his money a lot, like a whole lot. He never spends it. Finnicky wears a silly hat and a big coat with lots of pockets. Do you know why he has so many pockets? It's because he needs a place to keep all his coins. Every day, Finnicky sits down and counts his coins. 1 gold coin, 2 gold coins, 3 gold coins. He counts them over and over again, and as he counts, he giggles with joy. Counting his coins makes him the happiest man in the world. Finnicky loves his gold more than anything in the world. He hugs his bags of gold and treasures them like they are his best friends. He even talks to his gold coins. Can you imagine that? He says things like, "You're my precious, and I will never let you go." He whispers to his gold coins, "All mine, all mine." Finnicky's love for his gold is so strong that he can't bear to part with even a single coin. When Finnicky walks through town, he never stops at the shops or markets. He doesn't buy food, clothes, or toys. He just walks by, clutching his coat tightly, making sure his coins are safe. The children in the town often wonder why Finnicky never joins them in their games or buys treats like everyone else. They think it's strange, but they also find it funny. Sometimes Finnicky peeks into the toy store window and sees all the wonderful toys. He smiles, but then he quickly walks away, reminding himself that he must save his money. At home, Finnicky lives in a small, simple house. He doesn't have many things, but he doesn't mind. As long as he has his gold, he's happy. At night, Finnicky dreams of gold. He dreams of finding more coins and adding them to his collection. His dreams are filled with shiny, sparkling treasures. When he wakes up, he immediately checks his coins to make sure they are all there. And when he sees them, he smiles the biggest smile you can imagine. One day, something amazing happened. Finnicky saw a group of children who looked sad because they didn't have any toys to play with. For the first time, he felt a little tug at his heart. He thought long and hard about what he should do. Should he keep all his gold, or should he share some of it to make the children happy? Finally, Finnicky made a decision. He took a few of his precious gold coins and gave them to the children. Their faces lit up with joy, and they thanked him with big smiles. The children used the coins to buy toys and treats, and they played happily together. Finnicky watched them and felt something he had never felt before: happiness from giving. From that day on, Finnicky still loved his gold, but he also loved the feeling of sharing and making others happy. He learned that sometimes the greatest treasure is the joy you bring to others, and that's the story of Finnicky the Miser, kiddos. Remember, sharing can bring you more happiness than you ever imagined. See you next time. Finnicky had a big treasure chest full of gold coins. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. The chest was made of sturdy oak wood, with intricate carvings of dragons and knights on its surface. The gold coins inside were shiny and new, each one glinting in the light like a tiny sun. He kept it hidden in his little house. His house was small and cozy, nestled in a quiet corner of the village. It had a thatched roof and a little garden where he grew flowers and vegetables. But the most important thing in his house was the hidden chest of gold. Every day, he opened the chest and looked at his gold. He would lift the heavy lid with a sense of anticipation, his heart beating faster as he saw the gold coins inside. The sight of the gold always made him feel happy and content. "So shiny," he would say, his eyes sparkling. The gold coins were so bright and beautiful, they seemed to light up the whole room. Finnicky loved to watch the way the light played on the surface of the coins, creating a dazzling display of colors. He loved the way the gold shimmered and shone. It was like having a little piece of the sun right there in his house. The gold coins were his most prized possession, and he took great care of them. One day, Finnicky decided to count all his coins. Again, he loved counting his gold coins. It was one of his favorite things to do. He would sit down on the floor, surrounded by the glittering coins, and start counting them one by one. He poured them out on the floor and stacked them in neat little piles. 100 gold coins, 200 gold coins. He counted each coin carefully, making sure not to miss a single one. The sound of the coins clinking together was like music to his ears. He counted, getting more and more excited. The more he counted, the happier he felt. By the time he finished counting, he was practically bouncing with joy. He had counted 300 gold coins. It was the most gold he had ever seen in one place, and it all belonged to him. Finnicky hugged the pile of gold coins to his chest, feeling their cool, smooth surface against his skin. He felt like the richest person in the world. The gold coins were his treasure, and he would do anything to protect them. Carefully, he put the gold coins back in the chest, one by one. He made sure each coin was in its proper place, and then he closed the lid and locked it tight. The chest was heavy, but Finnicky didn't mind. He knew that his precious gold was safe and sound. Finnicky sat down next to the chest, a satisfied smile on his face. He felt happy and content, knowing that his treasure was safe. He loved his gold coins more than anything in the world, and he knew that he would always take care of them. That night, Finnicky went to bed with a smile on his face. He dreamed of gold coins, shimmering and shining in the light. In his dream, he was surrounded by piles and piles of gold, more than he could ever count. It was a wonderful dream, and Finnicky woke up feeling happy and content. The next morning, Finnicky woke up with a big smile on his face. He knew that his treasure was safe, and that he would always have his precious gold. He felt like the luckiest person in the world, and he couldn't wait to count his gold coins again. Finnicky worried about his precious gold. What if someone steals it, he thought. So he decided to find a new hiding spot. He looked all around his house. Under the bed? No, too obvious, he mumbled. Then, he had a brilliant idea. Finnicky went outside and dug a deep hole under the apple tree. "This is perfect," he exclaimed. He carefully placed his treasure chest in the hole and covered it with dirt. One sunny afternoon, a playful little squirrel named Sammy scampered into Finnicky's garden. Sammy was a curious squirrel, always getting into mischief. Sammy saw the loose dirt under the apple tree. What's this?" he wondered. He started digging and digging, his little paws working quickly. Guess what Sammy found? You got it. Finnicky's treasure chest. Sammy peeked inside and gasped. "Wowzers!" he squeaked, his eyes wide with surprise. The next day, Finnicky went to check on his treasure. He dug up the dirt under the apple tree, but the chest was gone. "My gold! My precious gold!" cried Finnicky. He ran around his house looking everywhere. He was so sad that he wanted to cry. He looked under the bed, in the cupboard, even in the cookie jar. But the gold was nowhere to be found. Finnicky sat down, feeling very glum. Section 6. A Change of Heart. As Finnicky sat there, he saw a little girl crying. She was sitting on a bench, her tiny shoulders shaking with sobs. Finnicky, who was usually quite self-absorbed, couldn't help but notice her distress. He had always been a bit of a loner, preferring the company of his treasures over people. But something about the little girl's tears tugged at his heartstrings. She had lost her favorite teddy bear. The teddy bear was not just any toy. It was her comfort, her friend, and her confidant. It had been with her through thick and thin, and now it was gone. The little girl clutched her empty hand, where the teddy bear used to be, and cried even harder. Finnicky felt sorry for her. He had never been good at dealing with emotions, but he could recognize the pain of loss. He remembered the time he lost his first gold coin, the one that started his collection. It had been a devastating experience for him, and he could see the same kind of pain in the little girl's eyes. He knew how it felt to lose something you loved. Memories of his own losses flooded his mind. He thought about the friends he had pushed away in his quest for wealth, the moments of joy he had missed out on because he was too focused on his treasures. He realized that he had been so consumed by his desire for gold that he had forgotten what truly mattered. He went over and gave her a big red apple from his tree. The little girl smiled. It wasn't much, but it was something. Finnicky had always been proud of his apple tree. It was one of the few things he had that wasn't gold. The little girl's face lit up as she took the apple, and for a moment, her tears stopped. Seeing her happy made Finnicky feel a little better too. It was a strange feeling, one he hadn't experienced in a long time. He had always thought that happiness came from having more gold, but now he was starting to see things differently. The joy on the little girl's face was worth more than any treasure he had ever owned. He realized that making someone else happy was a good feeling. It was a revelation for him. He had spent so much time hoarding his wealth, thinking it would bring him happiness, but in reality, it had only made him lonely. Helping the little girl had given him a sense of fulfillment that he had never felt before. Maybe even better than having lots of gold. Finnicky smiled to himself, feeling a warmth in his heart that no amount of gold could ever provide. He realized that true happiness came from the connections we make and the kindness we show to others. From that day on, Finnicky decided to be more generous and to look for ways to help those around him. and in doing so, he found a treasure far more valuable than gold. Section 7. Sharing is caring. Just then, Sammy the squirrel scurried down the apple tree. He was carrying something shiny in his mouth. It was one of Finnicky's gold coins. Sammy felt bad for taking the treasure chest. He hopped onto Finnicky's lap and placed the gold coin in his hand. Finnicky was surprised. He patted Sammy on the head. "It's okay, little buddy," he chuckled. Maybe it was time to share his wealth. Section 8. The Power of Friendship. Finnicky decided to throw a big party. He invited all the children in the village and even shared his delicious apple pies. He realized that having friends and making people happy was much more valuable than all the gold in the world. From that day on, Finnicky wasn't a miser anymore. He was known as the kindest, most generous man in the village. Section 9. The End. So, remember kiddos, it's always better to be kind and share with others. True happiness comes from making others happy. And that's the end of our story. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more fun stories. Bye.